Here's the links at Rolling Hills in a nutshell. You look at this diagram, narrow fairway, you can take a conservative line to the left or you can try to cut a corner. It is confusing as heck to figure out where to start this golf ball. I decided on some trees. On your monitor, you can see some trees there. In this video, you can barely see the tree I aimed at to the right. And I'm just trying to pull a driver here. And this sums up what this golf course is. You're hitting a lot of blind shots, and you're not exactly sure what's going to happen. It's pretty fun. Let's watch the vlog. Is golf too expensive? Hey, don't answer that. But I'm your good friend Lukie, and I'm returning and trying to find some of California's hidden gems, especially in Northern California. I've loaded up my car, I've got myself a trusty tripod, and I've got my golf clubs. Let's explore this great state and see what we can find. What's up, everybody? It's your good friend Lukie, and today I'm going to be playing the only John Daly golf course in California. You remember John Daly. He was this outspoken kind of rebel of the golf scene who drank and smoked and hit the ball really far. I'm playing a links-style course in which Daly is a co-designer of. There's some interesting things about this course, both good and bad. I hope you stick around and watch this video. I've also got some challenges for myself. I'm going to try to shoot +5. It's a tall task, but my handicap says playing from the club tees, that's what my score should be. I don't know if I have it in me. Also, I'm going to try to not lose a golf ball. If I accomplish both of those and you leave a comment on this video, I'm going to come up with a prize, maybe a sleeve of Pro V1s or something of that. You have to subscribe to the channel and all that stuff. Plus, after the video, the Lukie score, and one of those Lukie monologues to close out the video. Okay, so here we are at hole number 1, and this was just not the way to get started. I basically broke my golf tripod. It's why I like walking and vlogging, because I can set it on my bag. This was a struggle fest to even get the first 2 shots going. Basically 2.5 hour drive to here, and then you can guess this is par 5. I should be trying to eat. Instead, I'm trying to get a big number. That didn't even hit the fairway. And then for those wanting a prize, this one is out. That is one outright. I couldn't find it, so we're dropping, hitting 4 right here because I was kind of lazy. Not sure the exact rules here, what was in and out, because it's just confusing. And I've got this for a par putt, which honestly, all things considered, if you want to see the first hole, too bad you don't get to see it, because I didn't get to see it. I topped a driver and then hit one into the stuff, and then this is just an absolute... Also, can we appreciate just how beautiful this is, by the way? In hindsight, like I try to film this one so you get some of the landscapes, because it feels like Nebraska. I want to play golf in Nebraska. But you know what I don't want to do is do a bunch of 3-putts. 3-putted for double bogey on hole number 1 after a lot of really bad shots. So hopefully that's not the trend of this video. Second hole, basically kind of like the Aaron Hills type hole. And what I mean by that is you hit to a downslope and then there's a speed slot. On this day, it played a little softer, so it didn't run. I could imagine some of those big boys out there watching this video could run it all the way to the bottom there. I was left with a 9-iron. I was struggling early on with wind direction. That's one of those absolutely premium carts they offer, and they have GPS in it. Hit it to the front of the green, and this is just not the start your boy wanted. Not really bad iron striking, which is typically my worst thing. Like you're just hitting like a 60-foot putt, and I typically don't 3-putt, but when you're putting 60 to 65 feet, it's hard. And then played that one a little too far outside, so another 3-putt, back-to-back 3-putts. Hate the green in regulation bogey. And now we got the third hole, which is kind of the start of something new here. This is where I start to bring up like the Tiger Woods video game element. You could actually make an attempt to drive the green. To the left is one fairway that's different, and then There's one to the right with a more aggressive line. I obviously chose the left. And then there's just this narrow, if you take the conservative line, you have a harder approach. If you take the risky drive, you have an easier approach. There's a lot of really interesting strategy that makes this course very interesting. Kind of fanned a wedge. I thought that that might be better than it was. Felt the wind direction was with me. I'm not completely sure. And then just another long putt. And this was a scary one. I almost made it. But that was absolutely frightening. After 3-putting the first 2 holes and then a downwind, downhill putt, this just looks beautiful. And I apologize to every person that wanted to see a 6 shot there because I absolutely topped it and pulled it. Tried to get cinematic with this, and I honestly thought that it ran out further than it did, and then I just got cute with it. There was a little bit of a downslope there, and I just kind of missed it. And then here's the little chip there. And just that, already your boy is struggling and leaking gas at the links at Rolling Hills early on. Hole 4 knocks it in for a bogey on hole 5 plus 4. Pretty neat hole. This is a dogleg right. And, as you can see, there's a freeway in the distance. It just feels like it's not California. Absolutely atrocious lie. Smoked the drive. Leaked a little right. Maybe the wind took it. We'll say the wind took it. And that was just like a terrible lie. And I hit it good, but that was the one where I was expecting it to jump and it like knuckled and died. And I'm like, oh, come on, don't do that. And then this is a filthy chip. Can I get like a clap emoji or something, like a fire emoji for that? Just a absolutely sensational. Greens aren't the fastest here, but there's a lot of wind, so I almost feel like it truly is like a links course because they can't have it. Pretty hard uphill par 3 here. Man, I'm not keeping my balance. I need to go to the range a little bit more, but I pulled a 6-iron and I hit it hole high. It just stopped. I'm like, in my head, I was like, oh man, I probably flew it over the green, and then it's like absolutely hole high. As you can see, some towards the back, there's like some irritation in the green. There was a little bit of that too in my line of my putt, and I just didn't hit it. But actually, on watching video, I hit it. I just had the bad line. Hole 7, now this is a frustrating one. This is a par 5. And this kind of speaks to what I'm talking about. Once again, there's 2 angles, and I'll show it to you in a second, that you can take. I absolutely butchered that drive. That was like as good as I can go. And if you look to the right, that's one landing area. And if you look to the left, that's the other. So I stayed straight off the tee box and took it. But this is something I didn't know coming into this course, was that like pretty much it's like the ultimate simulator golf course ever, because it's like there's angles and approach and all this different strategy. And then here's a 3-wood. I mean, it took me forever to find that ball, by the way, because like I didn't believe it went out that far. Because that was completely downwind and it's downhill. And then I almost got it there, which is phenomenal. And just look at like the way the land sits and everything. This course really reminds me of how Roseville, California looked in 2000 before like developers came. Caught that skinny. That was like such a great feeling. It's like, oh yeah, 500 plus yard par 5. Almost got it home down there in 2. And then let me just kind of catch a 54 degree sand wedge in. But I think I pay it off here. One goal I have for this season is to make 1 birdie per vlog. I know there's a lot of studs out there where that's like not as big of a deal. For me, that's like kind of difficult. So we're going to try that. And there's my birdie of the day. 1 birdie. Looking like a unit too. Shout out me. So once again, hole 8. This is a definite like multiple different types of lines. You could try to cut off more to the right. Staying straight sometimes at this course gets you in trouble. I barely stayed in. So like that looks closer than it is. Like that native grass is coming into play much more than you think. The dog leg isn't as apparent because everything's so flat. And then I took a 9-iron and tried to run it up there and misread the break. I don't understand that. Maybe I hit it too hard, because if you look at this, and I know angles don't show on the video, but that's all downhill. So once you get past that pin, it's going downhill. And I thought I hit the mega roll, give myself the same length putt coming back right there, because that was close to showing you the slope that's there. And I had a really good putting performance, honestly, on short putts, which I hope to continue. Hole 9, this is one of the ugliest driver swings of the day. If you want to see a topped high-speed driver, well, you're in luck, because I gave you one. And it ran out a good distance, so it ran out. The conditions were firm enough, and it ran out enough that I had a 9-iron in, and the wind was helping, and that flew to the back of the green. So it's very rare, but I guess that's true links condition, is the wind and the firmness of the course allows you to hit clubs longer than you think. And then I thought I made this one. I thought it was going, and then it just broke back at the hole. So that's the front 9. The front 9, honestly, to me, is the more fun 9. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a pretty fun course, Get to hole 10. And then this was just, because if I tried to go straight on this hole, I would have been fine. But I didn't see the fairway. I didn't trust it. And I saw a golf cart to the left. I didn't show you my top 3 wood. This is my 4th shot, because I hit one in the muck, dropped one way back, topped a 3 wood, and then this is like a 7-iron into the green. So now, if you wanted to see hole 10, you don't get to see it, because I didn't get to see it. And, I'm putting for par. And this kind of shows you some of like the land, because when I was excited to go to this course and looking for courses this season, I really wanted to see what this land was and hear about the wind, because I watched a couple of vlogs and they did a great job at showing us the golf, and they were really, really good golfers, but I had no sense of the land of this course. It looked like a lot of the same golf shots over and over. So for this vlog, you're going to get worse golf, but I'm going to try to give you a little bit more of what the land looks like, and you can kind of prep for the golf shots. So here's hole 11. This one, might haunt me in my dreams tonight. I absolutely feel like I murdered that. It felt like it was a dead straight shot. It actually felt like a hole at Royal County Down, and I have no idea where it went. So now I'm dropping and hitting my 3rd shot from here. I have no idea if that's even where I should have dropped from, because it's blind. It felt straight enough. The wind was taking it a little left, but I have genuinely no idea where that is. Sort of hit by Lukie standards a dagger. I mean, like an 80-yard shot to 15 feet probably isn't that outstanding to most people, but to me, that's like, hell yeah, brother. And then just the minute I hit it, I knew I gave it too much. But as you can see behind me, that width of that last hole was not much. So, okay, we're in trouble now. And then this hole just blocked it outright. Pretty bad swing on hole 12. Really interesting par 3 grouping here. And there's a bunker in front of the green that you didn't get to see. And that was so close to being filthy. Like, there's a downslope. It was an evil pin, and it just caught on crabgrass. And I don't really love crabgrass in general, but I don't love crabgrass on link-style courses. So, start the back 9 with 3 bogeys. I guess that's pretty comparable to how I started the front 9, but it just felt deflating because it felt like I had battled back so much. Hole 13, it feels like when you're frustrated, you can really let go on something. And this is probably like the best filmed stretch of holes. And then I tried to get really artsy in my Royal County Down. It just keep saying that head cover is giving you like an artistic flash. Look at the Lukie run. I thought this was going to be like close, so this was a little disappointing. It landed on a downslope and stopped, and it was downwind. So I don't get it. Someone in the comments tell me, and then just scared to run it by, scared to go low, but I'll take it. And then hole 14, another par 3. It felt like it was the only way to join the land back to another part of the property. If anything, this was probably the weakest hole. Once again, just not a strong strike. It was very reminiscent of the strike I made on 12. Really, really good chip, though. I've been practicing chipping. I really like that chip right there. It's a very big green, and that's a very narrow target. And I felt like that bunker was really, really in play as I hit that. And then just really wanted to get that one in there. Really wanted to make that happen. So, didn't happen for me. Here we are, hole 15. Wind in my face the whole way. Tried to hit it off the back foot. Tried to hit a draw. And then, since you didn't get to see it on hole 10, you get to see it on hole 15. A top 3 wood, but it goes out far enough, and I'm hitting into the wind, where honestly it might have gone just as far as if I hadn't have hit it into the wind. And then it's about 150 yards dead into the wind, a big forced carry over stuff. There's multiple lines to take. I hit a 6-iron, and I just barely get it there. You know, that for me is about like a 175, 180 carry, I'd like to believe. And that carried like all of 151. So just a heads up, hitting into the wind at this course, at least by my standards, are pretty tough. Another really long putt. If you play this course, you're going to have a lot of really long putts. Just be aware of that. And honestly, your boy is kind of getting beat down. So I tried to just drill one, and then I made the comebacker. So that was pretty good. Hole 16, I think, is by far the strongest hole on the course. It has this beautiful setting, and I played it at like the perfect time of day. It's really like as I say longer in a monologue, like this is like what I do this vlog for, is like going to random golf courses that I've never heard of and then just finding a really beautiful golf hole. And that's what I found here. Was like there's a creek, there's an interesting hole location. It's just everything I wanted in a golf shot right here. Was just like coming to this hole, it's like, okay. And I think what was nice about this course too is, though it wasn't the most firm links style course, it truly did have the spirit of links golf, and having like a lot of wind also embodies the links golf nature. And then, you know, this felt like the signature hole, so I'm just fidgety as can be because I wanted to get a bird, you know. But it's just, I will say, very, very unsettled throughout the day. So here we are standing over this one, trying to knock it. Kind of pushed the putt, didn't just strike it. And I remember I didn't hit it hard enough, and it dogtails at the hole. It might have gone in. So this is the connecting piece of property from hole 16 to 17. And they have this little marsh. I'm pretending it's like Black Wolf Run right here. I'm just like, man, that's so cool. And then you saw this in the intro. This is the links at Rolling Hills in a nutshell. Hey, look, it's a blind shot, and it's super narrow up there. Pick a random tree, and hopefully you hit your ball good. And if you hit it good, then you'll maybe find it. And if you hit it bad, you're going to just be on a scavenger hunt for a golf ball. So I aimed at that tree, which I believe is where the green is. And I'm pretty sure I'm just coming over the top and toe pulling everything right now. And I pulled this just enough to stay in. But man, you have never lived until you hit some of these drives at links at Rolling Hills. So that's the width of the fairway, and that is not very big, and there's a fence where it goes out, and I landed in the rough just to the left of that. So that is not super good. This green slopes hard to the left, and I was pretty pumped on this wedge. I actually thought it was way better. It looked like it landed right at the hole, and then it drifted left. Look at me flexing. I'm like, zoom in. Me hitting a wedge from 80 yards. Pretty difficult pin location. 2 hard shots. And I really thought I was going to make this one. Not to spoiler alert you. Lined up pretty bad there. Lined up like I'm hitting a cut, and I hit a cut putt. Maybe I'm onto something there. And then just for those sickos that might be playing a championship, this is how the ball reacts just being dropped. It takes off to the left there. And that's just like me just tossing a ball. So you can't really keep one up hole high if you started at the pin. Final hole, hole 18, drop kick a driver. But I get away with it, which is, I mean, I'll take that. It's just a really, really long par 5. Here's the view from the fairway. Once again, I can't get over, and maybe it's just me being a complaining. Maybe it's not as narrow as I feel, but it feels claustrophobic, or at least more claustrophobic than I thought. This is not native land. This is just right near a bunker. It's kind of like and I've topped so many 3-woods. I'm like, I'm going to finally hit a good one. And I did. And then I was on an upslope, and I absolutely murdered that. I think it was maybe 125, and I took my yardage from too far away, and I hit a 150 shot, and I absolutely hit it too good. So I flew it all the way to the back of the green. I thought I was giving you an artistic angle. I hit this pitch that was really, really good, in my opinion. It was really far away. And then we finish off with a par. So let's go to the Lukie score. So the big thing with the Lukie score is value. And this came in with a ton of value. Great customer service. They have a starter who checks you in front of the first tee, which is also a nice feature. A bunch of practice areas and stuff to take advantage of, which is great. Put in it at 8.8 because it was $50, 18 holes with a cart and a pretty interesting course. That is a pretty darn good deal. In terms of fun, now this is a weird one, but this comes hand in hand with design. I'm going to give it a 7, and it's a little lower, partially based on some of the design principles, which I'll touch on in design. So I am very lucky, and I've played Ennis Krone, and I've played Royal County Down. And one big takeaway from those amazing golf courses are blind shots often have big fairways. So if you don't see where you're hitting, there's an area so you don't just lose your golf balls. That John Daly is a co-designer of the course, and he typically didn't excel at U.S. Opens, but this is a British, I'd say Irish-styled course with blind shots with a U.S. Open approach of narrow fairways that are very penalizing. And that is interesting, but I'm not completely sure I'd use the word fun. I feel I'm playing some of my best golf currently. I feel as though I'm keeping the ball somewhat in play, and I lost golf balls today off the tee. A lot of times, the shots, I think it was 3 or 4 shots, I lost golf balls on balls that I thought should be in play, which isn't a great feeling. And that starts to suck away the fun. Other than that, I think it's a great course. Design, I love the fact that there's blind shots. I love the idea that it almost feels like a Tiger Woods video game course, that you have different routes you can take to different holes. That being said, I still can't give it a 9, which I think is a really, really good score. I don't even know if I've given out a 9 on design just yet because of that previous problem I laid out. Width. You need more width in the fairway if you're going to have blind shots. Blind shots to narrow fairways is very frustrating. I get that there might be a strategic element that you're trying to have iron or woods being played in there, but you're going to have a lot of hobbyists who are just going to hit the ball and struggle, and I just think that there needs to be some width in some capacity for the course to play that way. Course conditions, I'm going to put them pretty high, 7.8. There were elements. Some of the greens had some spottiness to it, a little bit of crabgrass here and there. You almost have to be inching towards perfection to get the 8, but these were very, very good conditions. They're not what I'd consider Yocha-Dahi conditions, which I haven't done the Lukie score on a Yocha-Dahi, but Yocha-Dahi would be a very, very high score. And then for me, I've never played Shadow Creek, but to me, I'd assume Shadow Creek would be a 10 out of 10 because it looks immaculate. Sawgrass would be a 10 out of 10. Kiowa Island was like a 9.5, the ocean course. It was immaculate. And then finally, would I play it again? It is in the middle of nowhere. It is a very, very long drive. And honestly, I'm not sure. It's a 7.5 for me in that regard because it's kind of like it's just not forgiving. That's what I'd say is I need to miss it, and then I'd go back, or I'd want to show one of my friends this course and some of the holes. I also think this is one of the first courses I've ever vlogged where I feel like vlogging the course made the course harder, if that makes sense. I feel like just going out and playing it, I would have probably done better, although I did really, really well, so I'm really proud of myself. But those are my thoughts. I grew up skateboarding, and one of the joys of skateboarding wasn't the tricks. It was finding the ever-elusive spot. The spot no one had ever skated, the one that no one had ever imagined being that way. And what I've found Lukie at the Links has turned into is the voyage for the unique golf course that doesn't get enough love. The golf courses that don't have Alistair Mackenzie's name attached to it that people will pilgrimage for, but still offer interesting shot value, give you the type of golf shots you don't traditionally see, and have a strong community that back it. The Links at Rolling Hills is everything this channel embodies. Basically, when I return to golf vlogging for however long I choose to do so, we're looking for the golf courses that are like Sasquatch, the ever-elusive, mythical courses that could almost be perfect, but have just enough flaws to make them homely. Making the trip 30 or 40 miles away from Chico, California, in what feels like the middle of nowhere, I am so glad I did.